客家, Hakka, very interesting topic, but I'm not an expert. Just tell you what I know, and many part might not be accurate. So Hakka is one of the Han Chinese subgroup. So Han Chinese has say about 10 subgroup, like Cantonese is one, like east of Fujian is one, south of Fujian is one, and Shanghai, Zhejiang is one. So, but Hakka is the most unique subgroup because they are the only subgroup that cannot be categorized by a location, like Canton location, south of Fujian location. Hakka not. So Hakka too scattered away to name it after a location. So 客家 in Chinese, it means guest home. So they are like a guest to a lot of provinces. A lot of them, most of them in nowadays in Canton, a lot in Fujian, a lot in Jiangxi, a lot in Taiwan, Sichuan. Actually, the current president of Taiwan, Tsai Ing-wen, is actually Hakka people. So historically, if I'm not wrong, so Hakka people and like us, Fujian people, came from the middle of China around 200 AD, almost the same time. And their dialect and our dialect are kind of connected, all reflect the official language at that time in China. But over time, because this subgroup don't talk to each other, and eventually it become different versions. Especially Hakka people, they keep to themselves. Look at, this is the house they're living, the building they're living, 2 楼. So this huge building can host like 300 families, and sometimes they can live there for years without even coming out. I'm sure Apple somehow copied the idea to build their headquarters. Anyway, so, but Hakka people, how can they keep their group when they just move all over the world, right? For example, if my people move to Sichuan, after a couple of generations, we're going to speak Sichuan dialect because that just makes sense. Everybody's speaking Sichuan around you, and you are like a minority, right? But Hakka people don't do that. They have a saying in Hakka, 宁丢祖宗田，不丢祖宗言. I would rather lose my ancestors' land, but I will not lose my ancestors' language. They have to teach their descendant this dialect. So, and that's how they can keep. It's very hard, but they kind of keep, and they are the only branch that keep their dialect, even when they are in faraway province, like in Sichuan, or even overseas, like in Malaysia, like in Singapore. So the Hakka people will keep speaking their dialect until today, right? So it's good for them. Like my kids are not even speaking Mandarin that well, let alone speaking my dialect. So it's lost in one generation. Okay, so Hakka people, I don't think you can tell. Like even I can't tell unless I hear they talk. But luckily I live in Bay Area. Just last month, I went to a restaurant in Palo Alto called Red Hot wok. And it's a Taiwanese restaurant, okay? But in the menu, I saw something that for the first time, it's called 3-cup chicken. I know it's Hakka because that's a classic Hakka dish. So a lot of Hakka people is Taiwanese, so it makes sense. So Taiwanese restaurant. So even if they are not Hakka people, they are influenced by. Otherwise, they wouldn't have that in the menu. The 3-cup chicken. So I'm delighted to be able to taste it in United States. The most classic Hakka dish, originally from Jiangxi province. And there's a story, might not be historically accurate. Oh, by the way, why it's called 3-cup chicken, right? So it's actually a ad hoc way of making chicken, because it's tied to the story. So I'll tell the story. So in the end of Song Dynasty, that's when Mongolia was invading China, and this hero, everybody knows, like that fight till the last. He's a general, so he fight till the end with the Mongolian people, of course, for the Song Dynasty. So his name is Wen Tianxiang. So he's a hero that everybody knows, but few people know about this story about the 3-cup chicken. Is that when he was in prison before execution, right? So the words will try to make the last meal for him, but there's just not enough time not enough ingredient. All he has is a chicken, so he just made really simply. So the chicken with 1 cup of soy sauce, 1 cup of rice wine, 1 cup of sesame oil. That's it. That's all he has. And he cooked it quickly, and that's the last meal of this hero. And Hakka people keep on just using the recipe. And it's actually delicious. So I'm glad I get to try. And if you are in a Taiwanese restaurant, see if they have 3-cup chicken. There's variation. They might even have 3-cup duck, 3-cup pork. So that's how Chinese cuisine just evolved. So a lot of innovation based on the original recipe. Okay, long post, but hope give you a little bit more information.